Welcome, everybody. So glad to have you here. This present this webinar today is going to be a great one. Today we are focusing on the power of paid ads and how paid ads can really work to unlock the opportunity your real estate business has, regardless of what stage your business is in. My name's Chris. I am your host today, but I am not alone. I am joined by Bally, my co-host, also calling in with real estate expertise here to help you guys out. Bally, say hi to everybody.
Hey everyone.
Bally is going to be manning the chat. He is going to be coordinating help and support if people need it. So if you have questions, Bally is here to help. If you have content questions, we're both here to help. Make sure to use that chat function. We want to hear from you. We want to answer your questions. We want to make this an interactive and engaging time together. And most of all, we want you to leave this session today feeling empowered to unlock opportunity in your business by virtue of paid ads and how they can level up what you're doing in real estate. So let's get right to it. I'm going to do a quick screen share, and we're going to start talking about the power of paid ads. First, a little bit about me. My name is Chris Lancel. I am a real estate professional, a realtor, and spend a lot of time thinking, talking, and writing about real estate technology. I am the director of content here at Luxury Presence, but before I joined Luxury Presence, I held roles like the former senior writer at theclose.com. I was a full-time practicing real estate professional in the state of Michigan as a solo agent, as a team member, as a team leader, and spent a lot of time working with agents, teams, brokerages, and entire organizations, figuring out ways they could level up their real estate approach by virtue of technology and new wave strategies that weren't a part of success even 15 or 20 years ago, but thanks to the digital tools we have available, they are now. And I'm here to share this information and insight with you. Like I said, don't forget, you are a part of this presentation, so please be a part of it by engaging in the chat, using the Q&A, and again, if you have things that you want to chat about here, we're going to save some time for questions at the end. So don't worry if we don't answer your question right away. We will by the end of the presentation today. Let's get right into it. We're here to talk about the power of paid ads in real estate. This is an important topic for a lot of real estate professionals because, one, it is extraordinarily effective. Two, it's often misunderstood. And three, to do it effectively is easier than most people think. Here's what we're going to be talking about today at a glance. We're going to talk about ads on the high level. Do a little fact and fiction. Make sure that you're in the know in terms of what paid ads are, how they work, and why they can benefit you. We're going to talk about understanding your audience. Can't really run good ads if you don't know who you're running them to. We're going to talk about that perfect ad. It's not just a matter of throwing an image and a couple of words together. There really is a science to it. We're talking about where to put those ads. We're going to talk about how much to spend, and we're going to talk about how to analyze your performance. Let's get into it. First of all, I want to talk about why paid ads are so effective. There's a handful of reasons that paid ads are so effective, and they can really be broken down into three categories. First, paid ads give new real estate professionals, people who are brand new to the business, who don't have a large sphere of influence or a massive organic reach. It gives new agents an opportunity to build and grow without those organic connections. I love talking to real estate professionals early in their careers because most of them have realized what I call honeymoon transactions. These are transactions from your college roommate or your parents or the owner of the coffee shop where you frequent 4 times a week. These are people who, when they learn you have a real estate license, they want to give you business. These are great transactions to have. They kick things off for a lot of people and get people pointed in the right direction. But honeymoon transactions don't last forever. And if you don't have a huge organic reach, after the honeymoon is over, you need to continue to grow, and ads can help you do that. Secondly, ads are a great option for real estate professionals who have figured out how to be successful, but now they need some scale in order to really get the engine humming. Think about the realtors who have closed more than the average in terms of transactions for their market, but they just don't have enough leads to power their pipeline to continue to grow. These are folks who are experts in what they do. They have the connections to be successful. They just don't have the clients. Paid ads are a great option there. And then finally, paid ads are a powerful opportunity for folks who are managing others, like agents who are running a team or brokers who have a ton of young agents who have more time than they have business. If you have work hungry professionals who are working under and for you, paid ads are a great way to fuel their success. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In fact, paid ads are often the subject of a number of myths and misconceptions. I want to just touch on 3 of them before we get started here. First of all, there is this crazy misconception that paid ads don't work in real estate. We're going to talk about why they work relatively at length here, but let me just tell you in summary. Paid ads have been a proven model for success in real estate since the paid ad model on the internet came to be. Companies like Zillow built their business off of paid ads. They are successful because consumers indicate interest, activity, and insight online. We can use paid ads to get in front of those consumers. Those consumers are who turn into our clients and ultimately close transactions. Paid ads work. Second, there's a misconception that paid ads are too expensive. There is a lot of sticker shock that can happen in the paid ads game when it comes to real estate because real estate ads do get pricey, but it's important to remember the context here. Paid ads are pricey in the context of understanding that a closed transaction is worth thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. It is not unreasonable to expect that if you are going to get a $10,000, a $15,000, a $20,000 commission as a result of a closed sale, that the lead that would lead to that closed sale might be more than a few bucks. In fact, we're going to talk specifically about acceptable thresholds for how much you should spend on paid ads. But I'll put it to you this way. I think you can still spend up to 20% of the cost of your closed commission and be getting an absolute bargain. So we'll get into those numbers in a little bit. And then lastly, there is this misconception that paid ads are cheating. It's a shortcut. It's not doing it the way that, our parents' realtors did it. Guess what, guys? It is exactly the way that your parents' realtors did it. They just use different tools. The paid ads of yesteryear were bus bench ads. They were ads in the newspaper. The paid ads of last year were radio interviews, radio ads. They were opportunities to get in front of an audience and share your message. It is exactly the same. It's just a different medium. And it is in a place that feels more personal and familiar. Paid ads show up in a Facebook feed. That belongs to me. Well, it doesn't really belong to you. It just feels like it does. That's why the product is so effective. Paid ads are not cheating. They are just a tool. In fact, I'll go as far as saying that paid ads are just an investment in your business. An investment, the same way that gas is for your car to drive your buyers to showings. Let me give you a couple of examples of paid ads that we coach our clients at Luxury Presence through, just so you can see what I'm talking about in action. Here's an example for a paid ad looking for sellers. This paid ad has 3 components. The first, a keyword. This is an ad that is run on Google. Somebody is coming to Google, they are making a search, and they're engaging in the first of the 3 legs of paid ads, the search. This person types in, what is my home worth in Calabasas, California? This is the search. When search happens, Google triggers a paid ad. A realtor has lined up an ad to run whenever this search term comes up. Here's the ad. How much is my home worth? Results in a few minutes. Pretty straightforward. It has identified the desire of the searcher, what's my home worth, and served an answer for it right at the top. When somebody clicks on this ad, they come to the third leg of the stool, the landing page. This is where people end up after they have engaged with your ad. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward. I would encourage you to consider how this is not cheating. Think about the way we do organic marketing. Think about the way that you engage with your audience organically on places like Facebook or in community groups. People ask questions, you have resources, you provide those resources, and some of those people, as a result of getting that value from you, are going to wind up wanting to work with you. It's exactly the same, just a different medium. Let me show you one other example. This is for buyers. We have the first leg of the stool, a search. Homes with a pool in Tarzana, California. Boy, I'd love to live in Tarzana, California. It just sounds like a fun place. Here's the second leg. It's the ad. It's the value. It's the answer to the question that the searcher is asking. And then here is the third leg. It's the landing page. It's where people end up once they engage with the ad. Okay. We've seen some finished examples here, but let's get into how all of this actually fits together. Before we can run an ad, we have to understand our audience. Now, why is this important? Before creating an ad, you need an audience persona, because if you don't know who you are targeting with your ad, it will be very difficult to understand A, the questions they're asking, B, the answers that will be valuable to them, and C, the place your ad can lead them to in order to engage them and create an opportunity for conversation. Those 3 legs of the ad stool. So, how do we create an audience persona? It sounds fancy and complicated, but it's really not. There's 2 big categories here that you should be thinking about. The first is demographic. Think about who you're targeting. What's the age range of these people? How much money do they typically make? What's their familial status? What typical occupations do they work in? What industries are they a part of? Now, it's really important for me to point out here, even though we have demographic categories on this slide that you should be considering, you should not be thinking about these as eliminating categories, meaning I won't work with somebody who doesn't check these boxes. There are absolutely demographic categories that fall under fair housing. For instance, you cannot deny somebody a client relationship based on their race or based on their religion. Those could be considered demographic categories. These are means of understanding your audience, not disqualifying your audience. So demographic, this is the first half of understanding your audience. The second half is psychographic. Demographic was all about the objective. Psychographic is all about the subjective. What do these people like? What is their lifestyle? Are they in a city? Are they out in the suburbs? Are they out on a farm? What sort of values and priorities are important to them? What are their hobbies? What are their interests? What influence them as people and influence their choices as real estate consumers? You can now understand if you have a good idea of the demographics of your clients and the psychographics of your potential clients, you will have a lot easier time developing ads and understanding those three legs. The first leg, the search. What is the sort of search that your targeted client would make? The answer to that search, what sort of answer would be valuable to them? And then the result of a click. What resource and destination could you provide that would satisfy them and engage them in conversation and interaction? You've got your audience. We've got that three legs, but now we need to get into the individual components that make up the body of a perfect ad. Let's look at it piece by piece. First, you need a headline. Every major ad platform has a headline as a component of your ad assembly. A headline is the biggest words, the biggest font on the display area. It is what grabs the attention of the people who you are trying to address. The headline should be something that provokes somebody to sit forward and pay attention, but not provoke them so much that they scroll away and leave. We've all had the paid ads experience where an ad is too outrageous. It is too provocative. It is so crazy that we don't even care to look at it. We just scroll past it. Next, you need a compelling visual. Not every ad platform offers you a chance to include a visual, but most do. And whenever you can include a visual, it makes your ads incredibly effective. Visuals are what keep people from scrolling past you, even if you have a reasonably engaging headline. The visual connects the lizard brain, what we are looking for, and can identify extremely quickly without even having to read. It is what identifies our desires with our opportunities. Third, you need some clear, concise copy. If you do get somebody to pause, to not scroll past you, you need to have a very clear delivery of exactly what it is you are offering as a component of your value, of your answer. In this ad, you can see this is a luxury presence ad that we run for social media services. So you can see the copy here, level up your real estate social media presence. We've actually wrapped the headline and the copy together. Pretty clear, pretty concise. You know what we are offering here. It's an offer of real value. This is where we are talking about in terms of the overall ad. This is real value. This is an answer to the question being asked. And then finally, you need a CTA, a call to action. CTAs don't need to be complicated. They should be clear. They should be simple. They should be easy to identify. Learn more. And by clicking on the learn more, you'd head to the landing page, the place where you would convert, where you would get information about leveling up your social media presence, and we could start a conversation. Let me give you a couple of examples of real ads that we run here at Luxury Presence as a component of our paid ads service here. Now, just as a reminder, all of our clients are real estate professionals. We understand specifically, innately, and organically exactly how to reach real estate consumers. These are ads that we know work for folks. For examples, let's talk about buyers first. The buyer search campaign. You saw an example of this earlier, but the specific way that we like to lay this out is a Google ad pointing to a lead search page. You saw it before. It was homes available in Tarzana with a pool. We target individual keywords that are indicating people searching for homes in particular areas, and we drive them to specific pages on our clients' websites that offer that individual search criteria, like homes in Tarzana, or in this case, your dream luxury living in Santa Monica. Turning to seller solicitation, we'll skip over here to number 3. Home value ads are still extraordinarily popular and effective. Offering somebody a free home evaluation can be one of the most effective ways of starting conversations with potential property listers. How do we do that here? It's pretty straightforward. Another Google ad pointing this time instead of pointing to homes in Tarzana, it's pointing to our client's free home valuation tool right on their website. It's a Google ad, points to the instant valuation homepage. Clients get an immediate hit of value, prospects get an immediate hit of value by visiting that page and interacting with the elements there. And they're provided with an opportunity to provide their lead information and engage further. These are the 2 basics, but let's go just a step further. Let's get into the intermediate ads. Look at this one in the 2 slot. It's a listing promotion ad. Most of us feel a little intimidated about running paid ads for our listings, wondering, are these going to be effective? Are they going to show up in the right places? Or am I actually going to get leads from these? Listing promotion ads are a great way to get the word out about your property. It's a great way to get homes you have listed in front of the right buyers, but it's also a fantastic way to demonstrate to your seller that you're committed to exposing their property to the right audience in as many ways as possible. Let me tell you a specific story from my own experience. I have run listing promotion ads on just about every property I have listed for my entire career. Since these have become available, I have used these. And I can tell you, not once have I ever gotten the actual buyer of the property. Never once has the buyer of the property come through an ad and become a client of mine. More than once, certainly, the ultimate buyer of the property, who was represented by another agent, saw the ad, came to an open house or scheduled a showing, wound up purchasing the home, and they were exposed to the ad as a part of their journey. That has certainly happened over the, almost 15 years or so that I've been doing this. But what has happened most often is that my sellers see the ad and they call or text me. They say, man, this ad looks great. I'm so glad we're doing this. I feel so good about this. It has not been a buyer acquisition tool. It has been a seller referral tool. Really powerful and exciting. And then lastly, retargeting ads. We use these at Luxury Presence all the time. These are ads that show up to people who have visited your website. Big Brother is real, he's watching, and it's actually not that scary. When people visit websites, there are little pieces of code that get installed in their browser called cookies. These cookies indicate to places like Facebook and Google that you have visited that website in the last 30, 60, or 90 days. And then you, as the owner of that website, are empowered to show them ads in places like Google, Facebook, or Instagram, where you can continue to advertise the value that you provide. And it is targeted specifically at those who have recently visited your website. Now, one note I want to point out, and we're going to get to it in a couple later slides, but one thing I want to make sure that we hammer here is these ads are incredibly effective, but they're only effective if they're pointing to the right place, if they're pointing to the landing pages that ultimately become the collection tool for your prospects' information, turning your prospects into opportunities. Those landing pages are incredibly important. You can run all the best ads in the world, but if you don't have good landing pages set up, those ads will never ultimately convert. Luxury Presence it has an absolute lock on the authority for creating these landing pages. So if you have questions about landing pages, Luxury Presence absolutely has not just the templates and the forms set up to create these landing pages, but we also have the guidance and the strategy necessary to link these to your ads to make them high performing. Okay, let's move forward and talk a little bit about strategic ad placement. Where do these ads go? We've created these great ads, so effective, it's so visual, it's so beautiful. We know who our audience is, right? We know our audience persona. We know their demographics. We know their psychographics. We have all the pieces assembled. We even have some great ideas for ads, but where do we put them? Well, there's a number of different places that will take your money for real estate ads, but I've got a handful of places that you should be considering first and maybe only. Big platforms are the best place to do real estate advertising, particularly because they have the biggest audience. Facebook and Meta properties in general, Facebook and Instagram, they have a few other connected properties, but those two are the big ones. Google's properties, including Google search, obviously. You can also do things on YouTube, which are really interesting, and LinkedIn, which is a great place to run ads, especially if the clientele that you're trying to attract is the sort of folks that spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. Putting your ads where your audience is the most important thing when it comes to choosing your ad placement. If your audience is not spending time on the platform you are advertising, your ads will be unsuccessful. Additionally, I would encourage you to think about wherever you are choosing to place ads to make that a place that is most advantageous for you. Now, I'm not going to throw shade at companies like Zillow. They have created incredible networks, incredible destinations for consumers online who want to learn about, talk about, and share real estate related content. However, the lead apparatus in places like Zillow is not designed to benefit you first. It's designed to benefit companies like Zillow first. This is how they make their money, is by creating these specific lead interactions. Places like Google and Meta and even LinkedIn, they make money by selling advertising, but they are better off if you are more successful first. So I always advocate to people, choose a place for your paid ads that has your best interests at heart first and gives you the power to create exclusive lead relationships rather than a place where you may have to share the lead data that is created with other people. As a part of this, I want to also just call out that timing your ad on the individual platforms is also incredibly important. You're not going to be exposed on each of these platforms to the widest audience if you're not putting the ad there to run at the right time. Here's a great example. If you are looking to attract um, uh, clients on LinkedIn, running your ads in the week between Christmas and New Year is probably not going to be a time where you're going to get the best traction and the best return on your investment because LinkedIn usage goes way down during the holidays. People aren't on LinkedIn. Where they are is on Instagram, sharing photos of their holidays, catching up with friends. And then lastly here, as you're thinking about strategic ad placement, remember, not every ad is going to be right for every platform. Marketing individual properties, say on LinkedIn, is less effective than running ads seeking new relationships with executive buyers or with luxury property owners. Ads have different home bases where they're going to be most effective. So, as you're choosing where to put your ads, be thoughtful about which place your ads are going to work on. Okay, we've come to the elephant in the room, budget. This is the biggest stumbling block for most people when they're talking about ads if they've never done it before. How much should I spend? How long should I spend for? And how much is too much? When you're thinking about your budget, I always encourage people to do two big things and then to take one secret piece of advice. First, the two big things. You need to be working hard on determining your optimal ad spend. The short answer to how much should I spend is it depends. How much should I spend depends entirely on what your potential upside is. Here's an example. If the if the typical transaction in your market is, say, $200,000, and the typical listing commission in your market is, say, 3%, this means that you have an opportunity to make $6,000 on that commission for on every closed sale in gross commission. After all fees are paid, maybe you're left with $5,000. We'll just make it easy and say $5,000. That $5,000 number is the number that you need to anchor your estimated spend on in order to understand how much is the right amount to spend. So you have a potential $5,000 upside in order to, if you close a transaction. So what are you willing to spend to get $5,000? The benchmark for most real estate professionals is up to 20%. So spend $1,000 in ads, get $5,000 in commission. This benchmark is for a typical real estate professional. It's not for somebody who has been in the business for 50 years. It's not for somebody who's been in the business for 2 weeks. As your business grows and matures, this expected return based on spend will flex. Early in your career, you might be willing to spend up to 50% of a potential commission on ads in order to acquire the leads necessary to drive that transaction. When you are later in a more mature side of your business, you might not be willing to spend more than 10% of that potential commission on the ads necessary to power it. However you slice it, if you're looking for a single number, I always tell folks 20% of the potential gross commission after you pay your fees, but before you pay your taxes, this is what you should be considering as your benchmark. And remember, it's not all about that one number. It's also about lead quality and conversion rate. Because just because you get a lead at a certain dollar value doesn't mean that that lead is going to automatically turn into a closed transaction. There are a number of conversions that need to happen on that lead before you can actually assess how much a closed sale would cost you. So let me give you an example. Let's say that the typical commission in your market is $10,000. If I'm using that 20% benchmark, I'm willing to spend $2,000 in order to get one closed sale. So working backwards, if I have one closed sale, let's say for every 2 clients that I have, half of them close. That's not a very good conversion rate, but let's just say for the sake of simplicity, for every 2 clients that I get signed from paid ads, one of them turns into a closed sale. Okay, so I have spent $2,000 to get 2 clients. And in order to get 2 clients, let's say I need 10 leads. I need to get 10 leads into my pipeline. I'll convert for every 10 leads that come in, I convert 2 of them into clients. So now I'm spending $2,000 to get 10 leads. $2,000 divided by 10 leads is $200 per lead. $200 per lead seems like a lot to people. Think about what you spend that costs $200, or what you purchase, excuse me, that costs $200. It is a small number of things on this list, but trust me, when you work the math backwards, you realize, okay, $200 per lead. If I can close at my typical rate, this is going to yield me a $10,000 commission. And if you can improve your conversion rates along the way, that number actually goes down. You spend less per lead because you're converting more of them into clients and more of those clients into closed sales. So this is the two big pieces of advice when you're managing your budget you have to consider. How much are you willing to spend? This is based on what you're potentially going to get out of spending. And how good can you convert people down the funnel? The better you convert, the less these leads are going to cost you. And the higher your potential upside, the more you can spend on paid ads. Now, the secret strategy. Where it's available, you should use a bidding strategy. Certain ad platforms allow you to bid on the cost that it takes to display your ad, rather than paying an agreed upon flat fee, saying, I'm going to pay $500 and you're going to expose my ad to 1,000 people. You can actually bid against other people who are also looking to buy ads in this space. And it's kind of like an auction. And you can set up bidding strategies to automatically bid for you such that you get to pay the least amount possible in order to get to display of those keywords. This is a great strategy to use because using a bidding strategy will actually keep the cost of your ads a little bit lower. And if things get too competitive and too expensive, you can automatically bow out. You don't spend money in places that you can't afford it. Okay. So how do we know if our ads are working? It's more than just, I got to the closing table. There are a number of different ways to slice this pie. First, I look at key metrics. This is actually putting on paper those conversion rates I was talking about. What are the key metrics that I track? Well, the first one that I track, kind of working backwards here, is cost per lead. How much am I paying according to platforms like Meta and Google in order to display my ad content in front of people who are looking for answers that I'm providing? But then I look back at things like conversion rates. How well are these leads converting, say, from lead when I just get their information into clients where I have got a contract with them either as to sell their property or to represent them as a buyer? And then how well are those clients converting into closed sales? And then finally, I look at metrics like click-through rate, which measures the actual effectiveness of the ad that I'm running. The impressions, that's the people who see my ad, what percentage of those people are clicking through to get to my landing page, to have an opportunity to convert into a lead? All of these things are about measuring performance at each stage of your funnel. But you can take this and parlay it into other strategies like A/B testing. When you are A/B testing ads, which, by the way, all of the major platforms allow you to do, you can run the same ad but make small tweaks in order to test whether or not one ad is more effective than another. A great example of A/B testing that you see all the time in online retailers is the color of the button, the color of the learn more that is on the ad. Some people swear up and down that a red button is going to drive more engagement for younger people. Other people say a white button is what engages younger people. White button, black text, or red button, white text. You could create the exact same ad, but just change the button colors and see which one people click on more. This is A/B testing, analyzing your performance during the ad campaign. And then the insider tip. Don't rely on anecdotal and week to week and month to month review of your data to make decisions. Set up a simple tracking dashboard so that you can understand the historical performance of your efforts. Google and Meta provide comprehensive tracking dashboards for your individual ad performances on each of their accounts. Same with LinkedIn. But if you really want to go to the next level, create your own dashboard that pulls together all of the different places where you run ads so that you not only can understand performance on each individual platform, but you can understand performance as a whole. That way, if you have choices about where to allocate your budget, you can decide, am I getting a better return on my investment with Meta or on LinkedIn? Or is it Google? You get to choose. Finally, before we get to questions, because I know you folks have had them, I haven't been able to read the chat, but I've been seeing it scroll by fast and furious. So we're going to get to some of these questions. But before we do, I just want to tell you about a quick shortcut to success that Luxury Presence offers. The fact is, a lot of great real estate agents struggle with paid ads. Good paid ad strategies require constant attention, they require regular optimization, and they require immediate and high quality follow up via the landing page that people land on. If people engage with that ad, they need to immediately be followed in to a landing page where they can get the information that they were promised and where they have an opportunity to engage. This stuff is hard to do consistently. Luxury Presence provides an incredible solution here. We provide Google PPC management, all of those ads that you saw earlier, ad examples. These are things that our ad team can manage for you. Landing page creation, automatic nurture tools like our AI lead nurture tool, which is practically magical in the way that it engages your prospects. Lead intelligence tools so that you can have a better idea of which leads are a high value, which leads are priority and engaged and need attention right away, and where you're getting the highest quality leads from the different places you're advertising. We also offer monthly reporting. So that analytics dashboard I was talking about, we help take care of that for you. And dedicated CSMs. These are customer success managers that are here to answer all your questions. You're not in it by yourself with Luxury Presence. And you know what? If you find yourself with a question and your CSM isn't available, we now offer 24/7 emergency support for anybody who is a Leads Pro package holder with Luxury Presence. We want to make sure you know it doesn't matter what time of the day and what day, we're here. Email us. We'll get right back to you. Paid ads are an investment in your business. If you're going to invest, spend money with a partner who can confidently deliver results. And that's Luxury Presence. Today, because you guys have been so thoughtful and engaged and interested, we wanted to make sure you felt special because we feel special that you're here. We're offering all webinar attendees $500 off their setup fee when they join Luxury Presence. Just mention this BYP to the person who's given your demo. We'll make sure that gets on your account and gets deducted as a part of your setup cost. Okay. Bally, I feel like the questions were coming hot and heavy in here. I want to make sure that we get to some of these. What can we talk about? What questions can we engage in here?
Yeah, we got a few. Obviously, some of these questions are going to be very specific to markets and platforms and things. But
Yeah.
a good one from Magdalena was, in your experience, which performs better, video or carousel posts?
Oh, great question. So I assume that you're talking about Instagram, but there's probably there's a number of different places where you can make this choice. And I'll put it to you this way. I have seen video ads get a higher engagement rate on the platform. Video is a place on both Meta and LinkedIn, frankly, just about anywhere that where you're doing social advertising. Video is prioritized on all of these platforms. You get high engagement rates there. Though I want to say, in my own experience, and this is relatively limited and anecdotal, even though video might get higher engagement there, anybody who has taken the time to click through a carousel tends to be a higher lead quality than somebody who has just clicked on a video. Video elicits kind of a knee-jerk click reaction, which is great. We want lots of people clicking through, but folks who are engaging with and clicking through a carousel ad, this is where they have to manually make flips through to actually consume the information. They have to choose whether or not they're going to go to the next slide to consume. Those folks tend to come in a little bit higher on the lead quality scale. So if you're optimizing to just get as many people in the top of the funnel as possible, video might be the way to go. If you are trying to optimize for a little higher quality, because maybe you need those folks to convert at higher levels down the way, carousels might be the way to go.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. What else? Any other questions we can jump to here?
Philip had a good one. What are typical conversion rates for search ads or home valuation ads? I haven't answered this, but you can jump in and let me see what you
Yeah,
say.
Bally, why don't you lead us off here? I have a couple of thoughts, but I'd love to hear your thoughts too.
Yeah, in my experience, it all hovers around sort of the 3% mark in general for ads and conversion rates in general across the board and in any industry. It's typically a little bit lower for real estate. Um, I would say 1 to 3%, which doesn't seem like a lot, does it? But when you think about it, like 3%, the conversion rate on that is actually pretty good depending on the types of leads you're getting in the funnels. I would say anything above 3% is fantastic. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 3% is definitely a great mark to consider. I will say this, in my experience, when I first started running paid ads for real estate, especially when I was doing client solicitation ads, these are the targeted search ads and home valuation ads. In the early stages, conversion rate was lower. I was satisfied with like 1.5, 1 3/4. That 1 3/4 would have been a great week for me in the early stages. And the why on this was I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have an accurate enough um, uh, targeted ad persona dialed in. As I learned more about my audience, as I did a better job of selecting my audience by virtue of knowing who my ideal client was, I saw that conversion rate go up. So much so that towards the end of my full-time real estate experience, when I was working on a team running ads full-time, so much so that our ads were converting closer to 4.5 or 5%, but it was because we had developed these very specific individual personas, and we weren't running home valuation ads that targeted any home seller in our market. We were running 30 different home valuation ads micro targeted at individual personas. Like we were running home valuation ads targeted specifically at retirees who were condo owners. We were running home valuation ads specifically for first time home sellers who were looking to get out of their starter home. So as you understand your persona better, your conversion rates are going to go up. But I tell folks, if you are new to the paid ads game, if you are touching that 2% mark, that is something from an ads conversion rate you should be super excited about. And 3%, you're over the moon at this point. Take the kids out to dinner. You're doing a great job.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, William had a good one. Might be specific to you, William, but we can help try and answer it for you. So you asked, can you do other marketing for brokerages for recruiting agents? So something like
Mm.
join us as a CTA. Is there an automatic response to a client via text message or email? Uh, yeah, automated responses are probably something you should definitely set up in your ad campaigns. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, 100%. Anytime you have a chance to engage your leads automatically, this is a chance you should take. And let me tell you why. And William, I want to get to the specifics of your question here around recruitment as well, but this is just something broadly for anybody who is considering paid ads. Let me tell you, give you a quick piece of encouragement and reassurance when it comes to automated responses. When Zillow came into the real estate scene back in the late 90s, early aughts, it changed the expectation for response time in the real estate space. It used to be that you could call and leave a message for a real estate agent, and if they got back to you within a couple of days, you're fine. Zillow changed it from a couple of days to a day. When um, COVID engaged us. And all of a sudden, we were all sitting at home and we were all on our computers and the only way we're engaging with people is through our screens. That 1 day turnaround turned into hours. I have nothing to do other than wait for your response. If you're not getting back to me within the day, within a couple of hours, I am unsatisfied. AI has moved that response window even smaller. Now it's minutes or even seconds. People expect an near immediate answer to their question and to their inquiry. The great news, though, is that because AI has become such a ubiquitous part of culture and experience, people engage with it. They expect to engage with it. In fact, most people expect to get basic questions answered by AIs such that when they actually get to a person, they can focus only on the specialized questions and content and engagement. So when it comes to automatic responses, our consumers now expect it. And it's an opportunity for you to shortcut all of the conversations that you would be having with unqualified and unserious buyers and sellers and only focus on the people who have been qualified by something like AI Lead Nurture. Luxury Presence is absolutely incredible virtual nurturing tool. I mean, it really is magical. The level of authenticity the conversation has there, and you get to focus on warm handoffs. It's just that easy. Specific to the question earlier around whether or not these sorts of ads could or should be used for recruitment, the answer, of course, is yes. You can always use ads for recruitment, but I would encourage you to consider for a moment whether or not paid ads on big, broad platforms are the answer to reaching a very specific subset of individuals. It might be an appropriate and effective place to do on LinkedIn to find these. Unless you are working in a major market with tens of thousands of real estate agents, the number of people on places like Facebook, Instagram, and even Google search is going to be relatively limited. So your ads will absolutely run there, but the audience size that you're going to be reaching is going to be limited relative to the user base of that platform. So I would caution you as you are using paid ads for things like recruitment, you need to reset your performance expectations a little bit because you're not going to get as many eyeballs on those ads as you would if you were running them looking for just general consumer attention and exposure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do we have time for
Um,
one more, maybe?
yeah, we got time for one more. Absolutely.
Okay, Ruby had a question. How does one get more info on anticipated number of leads for spend in our specific areas?
Mm, great question. So this is an exercise that I often do with agents if I'm working doing some consulting. And what we wind up doing often is starting by running a few experiments. We understand first, we have to understand first the typical number of transactions that happen in a community. Let's just say, for the sake of this experiment, let's say that there are 100 transactions that happen in any given community. That's the total number of transactions. that would occur. Your MLS is going to have this number. Now, given that, you have to realize this number is an indication of how active your market is. It can be kind of a watermark um, to understand the volume of interest and inquiry that is happening in your market. And I bring all this up to kind of set the table because it is impossible to have an understanding of how many leads or transactions would come from ads without having an understanding of the total number of transactions that might happen in a community. But I usually will, once we kind of establish that, like as a table set, the process that I work through with folks is all about conversion rates. I say, okay, if we can expose your ad to 1,000 people and your conversion rate from that 1,000 people is 2%, that means that for every 1,000 people that see your ad, 10 of those people are going to become a lead. Now, let's say that of those 10 people that become a lead, 2 of them become clients. And of those 2 clients, 1 of them becomes a transaction. So, working backwards, understanding those conversion rates, 1,000 impressions equals 1 transaction. Now we have to run some experiments. We have to now say, okay, we've exposed, we know that 1,000 impressions equals 1 transaction. Would 2,000 impressions equal 2 transactions? Would 5,000 impressions equal 5 transactions? It's not a given that these things have linear relationships. As you grow in your ad exposure and the number of leads that you generate, you will wind up bumping up against that natural ceiling. Like there are only so many people who are shopping for homes in a particular market. So eventually that linear relationship is going to start to change. But in order to effectively determine what the output can be expected from a certain number of ad impressions, you need to start by understanding your conversion rates, understanding your total market activity, and then running some experiments. You will not have anything better than a best guess when you start, but after you expose your ads to, I think probably 10,000 people, or for the over the course of even as short as 4 weeks, you will have an idea of what your lead conversion rate is going to be, and then you can start making some adjustments and making some forecasting. And to kind of put a bow on this question, when I was running a real estate team here in Michigan, we found our biggest success by doing just this. We ran small scale experiments, understanding what our conversion rates were for 3 months. For the next 3 months, we added ad spend every month in order to understand how far does the relationship remain consistent. If I add another $1,000 worth of ad spend, am I going to get another transaction out of this? How far can I push this? Well, we wound up pushing it out much further than we thought. We realized, yes, we could spend a lot on ads, but we could make a lot more in commission. And when we hit that natural ceiling where we were starting to saturate the market, we knew that we were bumping up on the amount of activity that was actually in the market. That's when we worked on specializing our ads so we could increase our conversion rates. Instead of just running home valuations, we were running home valuations for first-time home owners who are looking to get out of their starter home. We knew we weren't going to expose ourselves to more people in the market, but we were going to increase our conversion rates by doubling up our lead quality.
Lovely.
Guys, it's 1 minute past the hour.
Yeah.
Valley, anything else to add before we close for the day?
No, I think that's all. There was a few questions that we couldn't get to, but I'll follow up. I'll try and answer them in an email for you guys and pointing them in the right direction. If you guys have an LP contact already, reach out to them if you want to get your ads set up. If you don't, follow that link that I put into the chat, and I'll put it in an email too with the recording, so you can claim your $500 off and get into the boat if you want some help setting up some ads. But other than that, I love that. I learned some new things too.
Fantastic. Guys, it was a pleasure to be with you today. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for your time. My contact information is right here on the screen. Bally's going to follow up with a recording here as well as answers to some other questions. But if you have specific questions for me, I would encourage you to follow up. You've got my socials right here on the screen. I'm going to put in the chat my Luxury Presence email. I would love for you guys to just email me directly. If there are ad questions that you have that I can answer, I'd be happy to help. My email is in the chat. Feel free to drop me a message. If I don't know the answer to your question, I'll connect you with one of the absolute geniuses that we have on the ads team here, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction and scaling your business the way it deserves. Thanks again for your time and attention.
Thanks, everyone.
The sun is climbing slowly. I hold these moments closely, closely now. These waves hit a little harder. I know they're gonna carry me somewhere. Step into the open wide. Watch the future come alive. This is our time. Yours and it's mine. This is our time. Yours and it's mine. This is our time. Hearts beat a little faster. Looking for a light ahead that's way